We all know what it means to be angry, but do we truly understand it to a level that it can resolve our fear towards it? This video will talk about anger, what it is, and how by understanding it, we can better manage it, even if we are the one who's copying the anger, or perhaps the other one who's enforcing it. If you enjoy this video, please press the like button, subscribe to the Mind Live channel and leave your comments, and click the notification bell to be notified of future videos. This is how to understand anger, and I look forward to seeing you on our next journey. We are all exposed to anger. We believe we know what it is, but we become so fearful of it and run away before we know what it was really about. Anger becomes a delusion, as whether we become part of its wrath or if you are the one causing it. We don't often realise the damage we inflict on others and the stress we bring onto ourselves. This video will talk about anger, what it is, and how to look beyond the fear of anger, even if you are its recipient or you inflict it upon others. It will also include some insights from Alain de Botton's The School of Life. Let us first consider what anger is. What firstly comes to mind is how we lash out at each other in aggression, perhaps in a tantrum with our unwillingness to see another person's point of view. It is an emotion that starts from a kindred flame and builds to rapid fire, beyond a point of containment. It could be considered for those who see no other way than to bestow their pain upon another. If we see a lighter side of it, well, it's almost like it's a performance. So if we think about it, anger can be so much more than just shouting. Why then do people do this? According to de Botton, people will lash out initially because they are in difficulty. They will slander and growl because they are not in a good place. It's a sensitive response. When we are irate, it can be at times a lack of awareness of our self-knowledge, albeit momentarily. As often, the flip side to our anger is the regret that we feel after the event. For as much as we know there are angry people in our lives, it is an act that we are all equally able to fulfill. As too often we wonder how good things should be, that we should not be subject to the tyrannies of others. It would though be fanciful to think otherwise. This is because anger is a spontaneous emotion, and with every emotional journey, anger is embroiled in us all. And it carries a lesson for all of us to fathom, as it shows a blueprint of how we relate to our suffering. And this blueprint can show us something deeper. That's because anger is something that we have learned to fear. If we have the courage to look through it, we can see something that is well beyond its lashing. And that is vulnerability. As anger exposes an imbalance of our moods that we perhaps were not prepared for. As often, there is something that lies beyond our anger, where we feel constantly threatened or masked in a veil of sadness, where our only refuge is to lash out in defense. Anger shows our inability to make sense, to articulate a rational response, and impatience to show aggression to defend ourselves. But simply, anger is a surrender of our emotions. This does not excuse anger and the hurt it may convey towards others. What we can though gain from all of this is by understanding anger, it'll boost our emotional intelligence, enable ourselves to become resilient when exposed to its nature, flexible to consider other means of behaviour. With a broader understanding of anger, we can see through its emotional wrath, not viewing a raised voice in its isolation. Keeping ourselves steadfast in our own values and not be forced into behaviours that are not resonant to our own. As anger is an emotion, we tend to forget when in crisis the honesty that comes with it. And this honesty is also in the form of our vulnerabilities. And whether you are someone who gets angry or one who is a recipient of it, by this knowledge, we can change our relationship with our anger to now be defiant towards its shame, or be someone who can control their responses. As when we realise that our ability to manage conflict and hardship goes beyond the mercy of our emotions, it becomes the epitome of our wisdom